But everybody said, oh, this is us. They locked me up and said, oh, this is us. We represent that. You know, I'm important on that, and maybe, and then they'll want to make their little decision, and they'll say, let me get in there. Because everybody wants in there first. You know how that goes.
Do you ever think about Sharon Tate and the people that were killed that night?
No, not that much. Why should I? A lot of people get killed. People get killed all over the world every day.
What about, let me ask you this question. How do you stay in touch with the world outside the prison to know?
I'm thinking the world outside the prison. The judge represents me. I stand in the courtroom. The judge represents me. The lawyer represents me. The attorney general represents me. They represent me. The whole thing represents me.
Why are there 20,000 murders a year now?
Because you're selling it. You're buying it and selling it.
Be a little more specific.
Well, when you take it, you put up an image, you put this image up, and you say, here, kids, don't be like that. Don't take them red pills, kids. They didn't know there was red pills until you said, no, you can say no. You can say no. You can't say no. I didn't know I could say yes.
Do you feel any responsibility for what happened that night?
None.
You feel no remorse for what happened that night?
How am I going to feel remorse? What am I supposed to feel remorse about? Everyone says, you feel no remorse. I said, can't you understand I'm not guilty of anything? And they said, well, you're supposed to feel remorse. I'm supposed to feel remorse because you don't understand, because you're twisted in your brain? You know, in other words, someone comes in and says, you were in New York City last night. And you said, no, I wasn't. And they said, well, don't you feel bad about it? You said, feel bad about what? Said that people that happened in New York City. Man, I wasn't in New York City. I wasn't there. I was in San Diego in bed with some broad I'd met in Big Sur. I didn't have no family. I had a motorcycle, a sleeping bag, and a guitar. Guy, I just got out of the penitentiary. I hadn't been out of jail long enough they say, well, you got our kids to do this, knock you out. You had your kids to do that. Your kids were doing that before I got out of the penitentiary. I just got out of jail. Can't you understand that? You know, you tell the people something, and they've got their minds made up a certain way. You dig what I'm saying? And you tell them something, and they just don't know. What am I supposed to feel remorse about? Do you feel remorse that every day of my life you tormented me with these idiots that you got holding me down? That you beat me and knocked my jaw out, you forced me medication, you've drugged me up down hallways, you hit my head on every chopping block in the state of California. You've poisoned me, you've done everything. I puked blood for months and days, man. You've done everything you could do to get me killed, and then you turn around and ask me, do I have any remorse? If I have the right to do to you what you've been doing to me, then that gives me the right to do anything I want to anyone I want to.
Maybe to help me understand something, Charlie. Why do people murder? Why did those girls murder for you? Why did Tex
They didn't murder for me.
You told them to.
No. Come back, D.A. Come back. You better give me my rights. Because as you're doing this to me, you're doing this to all these children, and they're all these cells, and they're growing up just like you're raising them up with no rights. And even the guys in the uniforms are looking at it and saying, what am I doing this for? Why am I cheating this guy? He's got no money. Why don't I go up the hill and take the money away? You know, if you give DuPont the same right you give me, you can put DuPont in the cell and take everything he's got. Take his children, rape his women, drag him up and down the highway. Everything's okay when it comes to doing it to Charlie.
Susan Atkins?
Susan Atkins is only doing what the society raised her up to do.
Wasn't she only doing what you raised her up to do?
No, come on. You set a baby in the cradle, you go, he's just no more younger or older than I am. He's just a baby in the cradle. You tell him, baby, won't you light my fire? Baby, won't you light my fire? And then the kid grows up, and what's he start doing? He starts lighting fire. You say, no good kid, firebug. You throw him in reform school. And then you come up and tell him, go out there doing them burglaries. You're no good. Get up against that wall and shine a light, scare him up, held him up against the wall, and shake him down and say, we know you're out here doing these burglaries. And then these guys are practicing all this macho John Wayne trip, you dig? And then the kid goes, woo, and he runs off and does whatever they're programming to do. See, there's a reverse side of everything, too. There's a positive and a negative. The wave goes out. And each time the wave comes in, the wave goes out. And you're all going to get the reflection in the mirror that you put in this. In the planet I live on.
What planet is that?
The one that I live on. And I put my life up to protect her, even though I know she's the devil. I'd help Blue. I'd help green, and I'd help yellow, and I would help all the girls that got busted with me because they know me in the thought of this. All the guys in my father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not true, I would not have told you so. And it's just as true then as it is true now, as it will be true forever and ever and ever. I don't care what the Christians say. Jesus Christ is a reality.
So you feel loyalty to certain people, people who you feel have stood by you?
Sure, the people that tell me the truth, I'm bound to tell them the truth back. The people that have treated me right, I am bound to treat them right back. The people that have not treated me right, the Holy Ghost will deal with that.
Why do you say Squeaky Fromm is the devil?
Because all women are. They have to be to survive.
Men aren't.
Sure, men are too. Sure, we have both. We hold both balances.
Women are worse?
I would say, yeah. I would say, well, if you get Mama Lion is very vicious. The Queen of England has never lost a war. Woman woman has the power. Woman sends these guys to work every day. Woman puts it on the road. She has the will, plus the supermarket. I have the reality of numbers, and I have the fishing pole. I have other things. See, the games that you guys play with your woman and man thing, we don't play that man-woman thing. You know, you guys are all hung up in them soap operas. They're killing themselves over crazy things that really, you know, it doesn't mean anything. When you peak the peak and you touch the ultimate, then you walk with the ultimate in your soul. You don't go back and pick up the same old trash can. You start all over. And starting all over means starting all over. And when you start all over, it's a constant rebirth thing. And it's not going back to Sunday school or with Swagger or Baker or the Pope or the rope soap. That's all dead. That's all old game. That's all graveyard game. You know that Jesus was a reality. He died so I could live. I'm not going to miss out on that. I'm getting up on that train too. That doesn't mean that I live by a bunch of foolish rules, that a bunch of old people are left by old people that left by old people that... Because let me run something to you. What it took Jesus Christ 2,000 years to do, in thought, in word, in deed, you can do now with television in 2 or 3 months.
What God is that, Charlie?
Yeah, the will of God. Whatever you want to call it, that up, down, down. You call it Jesus, call it Muhammad, call it Boogie Box, call it nuclear mind, call it blow the world up, call it your heart, call it whatever you want to call it. It's still music to me. It's there. It's the will of life. The Constitution and the people that founded this country in 1776 did, you know, like the government's got 9 Supreme Court justices for 20 million people in the 1800s. Man, you got 250 million people. That's like a fat woman, 500 pounds, trying to get into a size 10 dress. The government's not working. The system is not working, and they won't admit it. They think building more prisons is the solution. Building more prisons just add more confusion to the problem.
Why are 20,000 Americans being killed every year, Charlie?
Because the district attorneys are selling your blood, man.
I don't understand that.
The way you go to court, they need a conviction. They need criminals, man. They need people to lock up in cages. If they didn't have people to lock up in cages, man, they wouldn't be able to sell more fear to the public. And they sell more fear to the public, and all them old women, they love to buy that fear. They just lay back and watch that fear and read them detective magazines.
Helter Skelter.
That's the district attorney's illusion. That's his trick. That's a reflection of his fear, his sex paranoia, all the games that... But he won that reality for you guys. When he said, I versus the people versus the people that he represented, he won Helter Skelter as a reality for those people. But that's got nothing to do with me. Helter Skelter was a nightclub in the desert.
Do all human beings do anything to survive?
Survival takes precedent over programming. You get to the point of survival and your programming goes, and it's gone. The desert. I said I was going to the desert. I said, LA's in the middle of the desert. What's wrong with you, dummy? You see, you were going to the desert. How can I be going to where I'm in a conspiracy to go to where I'm standing? You know, it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, I killed nobody. I broke no law.
You broke no law?
I broke no law. I didn't even get to put on a defense, man.
But Charlie, you were in prison half your life.
So what?
Why?
I didn't have no parents. You don't have any parents. You got nobody. There's no place else. I'm going to take you off the street and throw you somewhere. Helter-skelter is a simple, just confusion. That's been happening. Let me run something to you. You go to jail. The music's going, da-ba-da, da-da-da. You go to jail. It stops. And you're in jail 10 or 15 years. You get back out and the music's going, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Then you go to jail again. And everything stops. And you get back out. You go to jail again. You come back out and they go, you say, wow, people are going crazy out there, man. Your minds, I don't know how your brains can keep up with all that, you know. Gee whiz, so it's the same thing with your dancing. And you're walking back and forwards, and you're living of your every ordinary life. And I see why your children are all committing suicide and going crazy, man, because, gee, how you know, because you're running in a crazy world. You got a crazy life. And this is another thing. You know? Isn't it funny why you would get Amnesty International to take millions of dollars from the United States to help prisoners out of jail in other countries when you got political prisoners right here in the United States that you're overlooking, that you won't accept? You got people all over this country that are in here for political reasons.
Happening. The Bilderberg Group was founded by Nazis after World War II with their European cohorts in the United States to try to bring in a one-world government. Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands founded it. He had to get out of it in the 70s when he met in Virginia and got caught paying off Lockheed Martin for a bunch of weapons deals. This is a criminal group. Hillary Clinton has been fined $300+ thousand in the mid-90s for a meeting. But that doesn't happen today. Now the Justice Department can ship 18,000 guns and hand grenades to Mexico to then blame the Second Amendment. The same Justice Department whose deputy head is now the Attorney General who staged Oklahoma City back in 1995. These people are terrorists, 110%. The government has been usurped and completely hijacked. Worldwide transmission. Worldwide transmission. The United States flag is not hanging upside down in distress. The flag was taken a long time ago. And the enemies of this country wrap themselves in it today, and a bunch of brain-dead TV heads follow along as every tenet of our free society is thrown in the trash. But it's always the same throughout history. Things have to get really bad before the public wakes up, and that is now happening. And when we see this wicked 1984 society unfolding, we know the answer to that, don't we? Yeah! 1984! The answer to 1984 is I want to commend all of you here today, men, women, old, young, black, white, every race, color, and creed, standing in defiance of tyranny. And coming here on your own time to run a gauntlet of captured collaborator police, fully under the control of the globalists, fully ready to harass and destroy the final threads of the First Amendment, because their masters told them so, because they'll move up the rank if they do it. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. It is so sad to see how far this country's fallen. All right, we're coming back.